Hi everybody, in this video we are going to discuss about the diversity in the living world. Diversity in the living world. In the previous video we have studied the universal laws or universal rules for nomenclature which are proposed by a scientist known as Carolus Linnaeus. Okay, Carolus Linnaeus is the scientist who proposed the universal rules of nomenclature. Universal rules of nomenclature we have seen. As if we are recapping those what the scientist Carolus Linnaeus have given, the first rule we said that they are of Latin, okay, and they should be written in italics. They are of Latin origin, irrespective of the origin. They are of Latin. And if you see the second rule, we said that the two words, okay, consists of the biological names or the scientific names consists of two words. The first word is called as the genus, we said, and the second word we said that it consists of specific epithet. Okay, it consists of specific epithet, we said. Okay, so in the same way, the third rule we said that the biological names, okay, when they are handwritten, should be underlined separately. Okay, should be underlined separately. Okay, this is the third rule that we have said about the universal rules of nomenclature. And the fourth rule, okay, the fourth rule we said that the biological name which consists of two components, okay, which consists of two components, the first word, okay, of the genus, okay, the first word of the genus should, okay, should start with capital letter, okay, should start with capital letter, we said, okay, should start with capital letter, we said, okay, capital letter. So which should start with capital letter? Of genus, okay, of, let us say, of genus, okay, of the genus, okay. And the next one in this we also said that the second word, okay, should start with capital letter of genus, and the second one should start with small letter, okay, should start with small letter, we said, okay, should start with small letters, okay, uppercase and lowercase, we say, uppercase and lowercase, we say, with small letter of what? Of the specific epithet, of specific epithet, okay, specific epithet. These are the, okay, universal rules of nomenclature that we studied in the previous video, and we said that these universal rules or the scientific naming is first proposed by whom? It is by the Carolus Linnaeus, okay, Carolus Linnaeus gave this, okay, universal rules, and he said that these are, he said it is of binomial nomenclature, okay, he said that it is binomial nomenclature, okay, binomial nomenclature. What do you mean by binomial nomenclature? Binomial nomenclature means when a scientific name, okay, when a scientific name consists of two words, one is of genus and the specific epithet, we are calling them as what? Binomial nomenclature. And we have studied with an example called as what? Mangifera indica. We studied with the example called as Mangifera indica. And remember, another important thing is that whenever we are describing, okay, whenever we are giving a name, okay, for a particular, okay, new species, okay, for a particular new species, it will be followed like this. Along with the name of that organism, even the scientist name in short can be kept after the scientific name. Okay, after the two components, they will be adding even the scientist name who described for the first time about that particular organism. So, for example, you are taking Mangifera indica. Okay, you are taking Mangifera indica. So here we say that mango, inside the scientific name of mango is Mangifera indica, we call it as, okay, Mangifera indica, and here I am underlining it separately. So along with this, here I will be keeping another word LINN, okay, LINN. This LINN is nothing but it is talking about the scientist who described for the first time, who described about that particular species, okay, and gave that particular name. So here it is talking about what? Carolus Linnaeus, Mangifera indica, Linn, LINN is added after the name of the scientific name, okay, after the scientific name they are giving the scientist name, okay, the scientist name, or let us say the biologist name who described about that particular species. So with this what we can understand, looking at the name, that is after the two components. After the two components, we can easily understand who is that scientist who described about that particular organism. Okay, about that particular organism. So that's why here you should remember that name of the author appears after this specific epithet. Okay, when it is handwritten. Okay, when it is handwritten, please remember name of the author appears after the specific epithet also. Specific epithet means what? The species, right? We already said the name of an organism consists of two components, genus and the specific epithet. Right after this specific epithet here, in the third place, we can write the author's name who described about that particular species. So that's why we should remember, along with the universal rules of nomenclature, let us remember that name of the author appears after the specific epithet. Okay, after the specific epithet. Now, it is not so easy. Okay, it is not so easy for us to describe about all the living organisms. It is impossible to study about all the living organisms. That's why there should be some way for us which makes easy to understand about these organisms. So in order to make our study very easy about different types of living organisms, we have to group them into different categories or into different groups. So this process of grouping the organisms into different categories is called as what? Classification. Is called as classification. So what do you mean by the word classification here? What do you mean by the word classification? The process by which anything is grouped into convenient categories based on some easily observable characteristics. Based on some easily observable characteristics. So let us remember the word classification, which is very important. The process by which anything is grouped into convenient categories based on some easily observable characters. Based on some easily observable characteristics. So this is a device to make us easy to study about all the living organisms. Otherwise, if you are not classifying the organisms, it is very hard to study about all the living organisms. So it is a simple device to group all the organisms so that it is easy for us to understand it very clearly. So here let us remember classification. Okay, let us remember the word classification means to group the organisms based on their observable characteristics. Now for example, if you are taking plants, okay, if you are taking animals, or if you are taking dogs or cats or insects, okay, any of these, okay, these are all, okay, grouped. That is called as what? Classified. We have classified all of them separately so that it is easy for us to understand it. So suppose, just think, okay, let us all think. If I am talking about the dog, okay, I am talking about the dog, I have grouped that category based upon what? Different characteristics. Based upon different characteristics. So when I am talking about dogs, you will not think of a cat. You will not think of a cat because you know what are the characteristics of what? The dogs. If I am talking about Alsatian, you will be having that idea of what is this, okay, how it appears and all. You will not think of a cat. Same way, okay, that will be any type of organism. It is the same way. So suppose if you are taking mammals, you know what are mammals? You know, they can be described based upon what? The external ears. External ears and the body head. These are the general characteristics of what? The mammals. So you know what are mammals, what are the observable characteristics. So they have the external ears and they have hair on their body. Are the best examples we say. In the same way, if I am taking plants, say for example I am taking wheat. I am taking wheat. When I am talking about wheat, you will not think of what? A rice plant, isn't it? You will not think of what? A rice plant. No. Because you know and you can easily identify based upon what? The observable characters that you have seen carried by what? The wheat. So when I am talking about the wheat, you will be thinking of the wheat plants but not about what? Rice. But not about rice. So here we have to remember that classification, okay, classification is the process by which anything is grouped into convenient categories based on some easily observable characters. For example, as we said, plants or animals or dogs or cats or insects. So here we should remember that classification has made it easy. Okay, classification has made it easy for us to understand about all the different types of organisms. Okay, it is made easy, or it is made easy to study about all the different organisms. So here, if you are looking at the dogs, if you are looking at the cats, if you are looking at the plants, if you are looking at the animals, if you are looking at the mammals, if you are looking at the wheat plants or rice plants, all these are convenient categories. Okay, all these are what? The convenient categories that we are using so that it is easy for us to understand. Okay, all these are convenient categories which are made easy to study about all the living organisms. Okay, all the living organisms. These are the convenient categories so that it is easy for us to study about all these living organisms. So these convenient categories, okay, the scientific term that is used to study about the convenient categories is the word we use is taxa. Okay, we use is taxa. So taxa is a scientific word that we use, okay, that we use to describe about each category at different levels. Okay, taxa, okay, is a different category that we will be using to describe about the various categories. So hence we should recognize that taxa can indicate categories at different levels. Categories at different levels. So you have to remember the word taxa. It is just like another word which we are using for categories. So here let us recognize and remember that taxa can indicate categories at different levels. Categories at different levels. Okay, please remember that at very different levels. Okay, at very different levels. So suppose you are taking plants. It is one category. So that only plants can be what? One taxa. You are talking about only the wheat plants. Wheat plants are one category. So wheat is one taxa we call it as. If you are taking only the all animals are one category. So we can call it as what? One taxa. And if you are taking in animals, we know that mammals will be there. Only mammals is one category. It's in simple one group. Category is nothing but one group. So only mammals is called another taxa. And in the same way, in mammals we also come across dogs. Dogs is another category or another group. So that is called as what? Another taxa. So taxa indicates categories at very different levels. Okay, at very different levels. So here, but you know that dogs. Okay, if you are taking a dog is what? A mammal. Dog is a mammal. Okay, if you are taking mammals, all the mammals are what? Animals we say. Okay, all the mammals are animals we say. But here we say that dog is one category, mammals are one category, animals are one category. Therefore, please remember, either it is the animals or the mammals or the dogs, all of them are representing taxa at different levels. They are representing taxa at different levels, which is a very important point, and you have to keep in mind. Okay, each one is one group. That group at different levels we are calling them as what? Taxa. So remember, animals, mammals or dogs, they represent taxa at different levels. So hence, we should remember that based on characteristics, all living organisms can be classified into different taxa. Okay, all the living organisms, dogs into one taxa, wheat into one taxa, rice into one taxa, tomato into one taxa. Like that, we can group all the living organisms into different categories that we are calling it as what? Taxa. Okay, so taxa means what? It is based upon the characteristics. All the living organisms are classified into different taxa. So here, this process of classification, this process of classification based upon what? Observable characteristics is called as what? Taxonomy. Okay, the process of classification is called taxonomy. Okay, the process of classification is called as taxonomy. So here we also should remember external and internal structure. Okay, external and internal structure along with the structure of its cell. Okay, external and internal structure, and along with the structure of its cell, developmental process and ecological information of those organisms. Okay, external structure, internal structure along with the structure of a cell and developmental process and ecological information of organisms are essential, and they form the basis of modern taxonomic studies. Okay, all these are the basis of what the modern taxonomy is. Okay, all these are the basis of modern taxonomy. See, even the ecological information also of a organism are basis of modern taxonomic studies. Okay, modern taxonomic studies. So we have to remember these points when we talk about the characteristics that we are talking about different types of organisms and grouping these organisms into various taxa. So with this, what we understand, we have to remember that characterization, okay, or characteristics, okay, characteristics, okay, identification, characteristics, identification, and even the nomenclature, okay, characteristics, identification, and even and nomenclature. These three are the basic, okay, nomenclature, okay, these three, okay, are the in the process of classification. These three are the basic things for taxonomy. Okay, for taxonomy, these three are very important. Okay, for these three are very important. So characteristics, identification, and nomenclature. These are all the different processes. Okay, these are all the different processes that are basic to taxonomy. So we have to remember. So what is the basic of taxonomy? It is the process of characterization or characteristics, identification, and nomenclature. These are all the basics of taxonomy. And one more thing, okay, and one more thing is classification. Please remember, and one more thing, and a very important thing that you have to remember, and these four, 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay, all these four are processes, okay, all these four are processes by which it gives us the study, basic study of taxonomy. That means it helps in study of taxonomy. Please remember, all these are very important. Okay, all these are very important. So let us keep all these points in mind when we are talking about grouping the organisms into different categories, that is taxonomy. Thank you so much.